Time now for a look at the day's top business news. And we're going to start in Latin America, where US President Donald Trump's administration is seeking to further isolate three countries based pretty much on their socialist governments. Business editor Brian Quinn is here to tell us more. Brian.
Yes, Eve, Washington taking aim at Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba. The Trump administration on Wednesday revealed a series of economic measures aimed at, quote, reversing the consequences of disastrous Obama-era policies. Well, the European Union and Canada have both expressed their disapproval, with French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire saying Thursday that Europe will respond to any U.S. sanctions on investment in Cuba. Erin Ogunke and Claire Rush have more.
An all-out offensive on socialist governments in Latin America. Washington unveiled a new set of economic measures against Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua on Wednesday, making good on President Trump's vow to rid the region of leftist rule.
The troika of tyranny, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, is beginning to crumble. Well, the United States looks forward to watching each corner of this sordid triangle of terror fall in Havana, in Caracas, and in Managua.
The administration imposed new sanctions on Nicaragua and Venezuela, though it reserved the most severe measures for Cuba. Rolling back Obama-era overtures to the island, the U.S. will prohibit American citizens from traveling to Cuba except for family reasons and limit remittances to $1,000 per quarter. Washington also reinstated the Helms-Burton Act. The legislation allows lawsuits in U.S. courts over property seized by Cuba following its 1959 revolution. The move could open the floodgates to thousands of lawsuits against foreign companies operating on the island. It could also discourage foreign investment, already hampered by U.S. sanctions and a struggling economy.
Of course, we will have to study the measures, but they will surely damage our economy, and they will especially harm people.
The European Union, which is the biggest foreign investor in Cuba, has warned it may challenge the law before the World Trade Organization.
Checking in on the markets now. Asian indexes slipping in Thursday trade, despite a Wall Street Journal report that the U.S. and China have tentatively scheduled a new round of trade talks aimed at ending their trade war as early as the end of May. The Nikkei in Tokyo finishing the day down around 0.8%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng down just over 0.5%. Shanghai Composite down just under 0.5%. The Kospi in Seoul finishing the day down over 1.4% at the close. European indexes opening slightly lower as investors wait for new Eurozone business surveys due out Thursday. London, Paris, and Frankfurt all down between 0.1 and 0.25% at the open. Next, Boeing says it's closing in on regulatory certification for the update to its anti-stall flight control software in the 737 MAX series jets. The original software is strongly suspected as a factor in two recent 737 crashes that killed nearly 300 people. The entire global fleet of 737 MAX jets has been grounded since the second of those crashes in March, that freezing Boeing's deliveries of new jets and forcing airlines to cancel thousands of flights as the busy travel season gets underway. Once submitted, international regulators will have 90 days to review the new software. Boeing CEO Dennis Muilenburg says the company is nearly ready.
We're making steady progress towards certification. Yesterday, we completed the official engineering flight test of the updated software with our technical and engineering leaders on board the airplane. That was the final test flight prior to the certification flight.
Pinterest is due to begin trading on the New York Stock Exchange Thursday. The online scrapbooking company's initial public offering at $19 a share values it at $12.7 billion. That is higher than earlier estimates. That rise signaling continued strength in investor demand as a host of tech companies, including Uber, prepare to go public. Shares in Uber rival Lyft have lost 17% since their debut late last month. That leading to concerns over the viability of this wave of IPOs. Finally, for business, yet another alarm sounded on the dangers of climate change, this time from central banks. The governors of the Bank of England and the Banque de France joining with 34 central banks and supervisors in laying out dangers to the world economy posed by global warming. In an open letter published Wednesday, they say that if companies and industries fail to adjust to the new reality, they will cease to exist, Authors calling for a massive reallocation of capital in order to reduce carbon emissions by some 45% over the next decade. One thing left unmentioned in the letter, recent studies suggesting that, in fact, our entire modern capitalist system based on cheap fossil fuels may be incompatible with the actions necessary to stop runaway climate change. Eve says, kind of a big ask from the central banks there.
Indeed.